Hello, today we're going to be discussing what I think would happen if the Dalek Empire from Doctor Who were to meet the United Federation of Planets from Star Trek, and we'll see who would win in a war. Let's start off this video by introducing both sides. The Daleks are a powerful species from Doctor Who which live inside an armoured machine with shielding capabilities to protect the Dalek within from laser fire or metallic projectiles. They have starships that can destroy planets within seconds, and as well as that, they have time travel technology. They also have the ability to hover and fly through space at rather fast speeds. The United Federation of Planets from Star Trek was founded in the year 2161. They have a vast fleet of starships, as well as being an alliance with multiple species. In this video, we will be looking at both the Federation and Dalek Empire at their peak of technological advancement, as shown in their respective franchises. Just a disclaimer, by the way, I'm only including TV shows and movies, no audio dramas or novels. Now, let's set a picture in our heads, shall we? Multiple Federation colonies vanish. Destroyed. Starfleet dispatches maybe 1 or 2 starships to patrol the area. They go missing as well. Eventually, perhaps a starship will just have enough time to get back word that an unidentified starship is attacking them before they're destroyed. Now, Starfleet would probably send out ships specifically for diplomatic relations. However, as we know, the Daleks would not accept this and destroy the vessel. If we compare this to the Borg incident, or the Dominion incident in Star Trek The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, in The Next Generation they end up sending an entire fleet of starships to deal with one Borg cube. Those ships get totally annihilated. In Deep Space Nine, they armour Deep Space Nine, which is right next to the wormhole, as a defensive position for the Alpha Quadrant, so that when the Dominion come through, they'd be ready for them. As well as putting back into commission a Borg-destroying starship that was never put into commission in time, the USS Defiant, a Defiant-class starship, the Federation's first battleship. We can assume once the situation starts getting dire that this same situation would occur, with multiple battleships being put into production. I'm estimating that this would take place during the events of Star Trek Picard, the height of the Federation's technological advancements. Now, because Doctor Who is a time travel show, we can only assume that from the latest we've seen and the most powerfully technologically advanced we've seen the Daleks in the show, that I'm going to put that version of the Daleks in here. So not the version of the Daleks that we see in classic Who. Now, in terms of starships, we know that Dalek starships are far more powerful than Federation ships. They have the ability to destroy planets in minutes. No Federation ships have the ability to do that. Well, not by themselves. It would take a lot of time mining with phasers into the planet's crust to tamper with its core. Now, in terms of ships, I'd be pretty sure that Daleks would win, just due to sheer power. Like the Federation, the Daleks also have attack fighters. Now, we can not weigh their exact power like their starships. However, judging by the fact that we know that Dalek attack fighters can attack on ground-to-ground combat as well as in space, I have to assume that they are more powerful than Federation attack fighters, due to the fact that we have never seen Federation attack fighters do that on screen. Now, we know that Dalek ships and Daleks themselves are mass-produced quite fast, so that could be a problem. Federation starships, the Federation can reproduce its fleets fairly quickly. However, we don't know exactly how fast. However, I would assume they'd be able to keep their forces up for a while. The Daleks would not quite be like the Borg. I do not think that they'd dispatch the minimum amount of ships possible to take down the Federation. I feel like they'd take this head on and do everything they can to destroy it, because it would be a dangerous opponent and they would not want to risk a dangerous enemy. Let's think about boarding. Daleks, as well as the Federation, have teleportation abilities. However, they also have the ability to dispatch themselves from their own ships and go out in fleets and armies of Daleks in space. They can move fairly efficiently, but this is usually used for planetary assault and not for ship boarding. Now let's look at Daleks on ground combat compared to Federation officers. Standard issue weaponry for Starfleet officers are phasers and phaser rifles. The phasers are smaller, easier to carry around. Weaponry mostly for unexpected encounters on a starship. However, a phaser rifle is a far more powerful and far more diverse weapon. Now, the Daleks' weakness is their eye stalk. This can easily be manipulated due to the fact that it has been with metallic objects. So, if the Federation somehow figured out that if they targeted the eye stalks, I think they would be able to destroy quite a few Daleks due to their advanced phasers. However, when it comes to ground forces, Daleks can beam onto Federation starships, like a Federation starship could beam onto, let's say, a Dalek ship, but that would have to have its shields down. Now, as far as we know, we don't actually know if Dalek ships have shielding or not. However, each individual Dalek has their own personal shield to protect them against metallic projectiles or laser projectiles, which would mean that Federation technology would not be that useful against them. Daleks have a vast array of weapons to destroy any form of life. You've got the traditional exterminating death ray, which will instantly kill anything that it comes in contact with. This plunger-shaped device that will suck all organic tissue from any human being. And as seen in the most recent, as of yet episode, a Gatling gun. They also have the ability to cut through doors with a different weapon attachment, which means that no matter how they lock the doors, the Daleks can get through by dispatching a special Dalek. When we're talking about this, we have to of course talk about the most powerful form of Dalek, the Special Weapons Dalek. These tanks have extremely explosive and powerful firepower that will blast through any door or human being. When you combine this with everything, ground assaults on starships or planets, when you think about it, the Federation would stand no chance. The Federation can call in a multitude of different species, such as the Andorians or the Klingon. I do not think they'd be able to get the Romulans due to the fact that this takes place during Picard, when the Romulans are at an extremely weak point and their empire is crippling. The Vulcans would also probably be available. As we know, if this was a more galactic threat, it would be possible that the Cardassians might also lend a helping hand to battle the Dalek invasion of the Alpha Quadrant. So, we can assume this war would go on for a fair while. Now, when it comes to space combat and ground combat, we've discussed those, but this is one of the main settling factors. Now, due to the fact that Daleks have time travel technology, once they find Earth, if they can't get in weapons range, they could just dispatch time travel ships and start a temporal war, which would easily wipe out the Earth extremely quickly. Now, you can also discuss that Klingon ships have cloaking technology, and that may be good to sneak up on Daleks. However, I assume by the end of this war, Federation ships would too, with the mass production of Defiant-class vessels, probably. They would probably be fairly effective against your regular Dalek saucer, however I do not feel like one could take on a Dalek saucer. As seen in Star Trek First Contact, A whole fleet of starships struggling to defend the Earth from another Borg incursion was still having difficulty, even though this time the USS Defiant was on their side. It was extremely badly damaged and needed a small refit to repair it. So, one Defiant-class ship, in my opinion, would probably not be able to hold off one Dalek saucer, which is a big deal. When you think about powerful Federation starships, you've got the Sovereign class, Galaxy class, and as I've mentioned, Defiant class, as well as the Intrepid class and the Inquiry class. From Star Trek Deep Space Nine, we know that they'll put pretty much any starship that can be put back into commission on the front lines, such as the Excelsior class or Miranda class. Even with the Klingons, the Cardassians, the Vulcans, and the Andorians on their side, I just don't think it would be enough to hold off the Dalek Empire. So I feel like Earth would be subjugated or destroyed, and the Daleks would rule the Alpha Quadrant. But that's been my take on it. Put in the comments if you think I've missed anything out, and I'll remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see everybody next time.